Let's go, champ.
Gamble, gamble.
You lose everything.
Is the microphone working?
Here in Malta, the quest for the throne has already begun.
I gotta spin my stack up today.
I've got kids to feed.
Kings have been toppled.
Any kings about?
Get it in with Kings versus Aces.
Bloody marvellous.
Can't make it up. There we go, sick.
Now like a boss.
The battlefield is littered with defeated champions.
Lucky.
So embarrassing. Yesterday won in 5 minutes.
I'll be back.
The PokerStars.com EPT is looking for a new ruler. And 6 challengers are heading to the final table in search of poker glory. Hello once again, welcome to Malta and the European Poker Tour. I'm James Hartigan, alongside Joe Stapleton.
You know, the drinks are so cheap on this island, it's a miracle I made it here at all today.
Well, you're not the only one lucky to be here. Just 6 players remain in the tournament. It's a new cast of characters coming to the stage, with most of the €2.3 million prize pool still up for grabs.
It's time to close out this short season of the EPT with the Malta main event. Drinks on him.
Coming into play as chip leader is an amateur who spent the last 5 days confounding the pros.
I'm sorry.
Sorry?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. You're such a nice guy.
Mads Carlsen is a retired Swede living in Malta.
Well, of course, I have the image of a fish. Old guy, a bit, flustered and, nervous. To some extent, it is to my advantage, of course.
Well, everybody loves an underdog story, and this final table has 3 tales to tell. Peter Ockenden from the UK is an online qualifier looking to spin it up.
I'm here for €27, so how can I feel any pressure? Poker really is just something that I do as a hobby. But, coming into final table and cashing so well, that's a dream come true.
Elie Saad is another businessman living the dream. Here in Malta on holiday, he extended his trip to play the main event.
I'm not a professional player. I came with my wife and 5 kids. She go back to Lebanon to the kids, and I continue the tournament. I love this position.
But the narrative could be dictated by the pros, with 3 of the game's brightest online talents at this final table. Dmitry Yurosov is a high-stakes player. He's second in chips and is looking to capitalize on the others' inexperience.
Я думаю, буду играть довольно агрессивно, потому что оппоненты, в принципе, пассивные. Ну и рассчитываю на победу. Каждый игрок хочет выиграть main event по EPT.
British pro Thomas McNamara has already come close to an EPT title this year in Dublin.
McNamara out and unlucky 13th.
And when we went 7-handed, it looked like he was destined for disappointment again.
3-way all in, baby.
Well, there is a jack and an 8 on the flop. That will do it. That's nuts!
I was incredibly lucky. I never really expected to come this far. It'd be great to win. To be honest, the money wouldn't be life-changing, but certainly have a good time with it, yeah.
Alexei Boyka from Belarus was on the receiving end of that beat, leaving him trailing the pack as the short stack.
I couldn't do anything else. It was a big cooler hand. I don't really expect it, but if I'm gonna win a title, I will be incredibly happy.
It's the final chapter. 3 amateurs versus 3 pros. How will the story end? Well, this is one of the last chances to win an EPT title. We're getting cards in the air at the final table of the Malta main event. Blinds at 25.50 with a 5K ante.
You know, George, R.R. Martin whispered the end of this tournament to me just in case he dies before he's done writing it.
Action here on Peter Ockenden. He folds.
Myasov, Yurosov.
Folded around to Thomas McNamara, who has ace king of spades on the button. He raises to 110,000. Jacks for Alexei Boyka in the small blind.
Looks like we're going to be kicking things off with a flip.
Looks like he's re-raising. It's a 3-bet to 260,000. Mats Carlsen folds the big blind. It's back on McNamara.
And this is just a cooler at this stage. It takes skill to get to this point, but at moments like these, you gotta just get it in and hope for the best. Kind of like voting.
I'm all in.
A shove. And a call. Boyka at risk, but a marginal favorite.
Like Jon Snow versus Tyrion Lannister, one of these two hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Russian pro Roman Koronev is railing Alexei Boyka, who is flipping for his tournament life. The flop is king high. McNamara takes the lead.
Boyka's still smiling. No, there it goes.
Queen on the turn.
Close, it's close.
Additional outs for Boyka.
One time.
He needs a 10 or a jack on the river to survive. 10 ball!
Yeah, it was a flip, but what a dramatic and brutal way for the jacks to re-get there.
McNamara loses a hefty chunk of his chips, and Boyka jumps from being the short stack to third on the leaderboard.
Hey, you think Roman got those glasses at Carl from Up's estate sale?
He's like a Russian Sam Grafton. So everyone's locked up 77k. There are 6-figure scores for the final 5, with the winner receiving nearly 356,000 euros. Well, funnily enough, Thomas McNamara is now the short stack, and he's first to speak here. He has ace-8.
Ace-8 under the gun's not great, but since he's shorter than Tyrion's time in King's Landing, he's probably going to put it in.
There's the shove. Boyka folds. Carlsen's out. Peter Ockenden on the button has pocket sixes.
This is probably a call. McNamara's going to be shoving all of his smaller pairs and probably not his monsters like queens or better.
Ockenden is a businessman who divides his time between the UK and the Netherlands.
Fun.
He calls, putting McNamara at risk. Urasov folds. Sard has king 4 in the big.
Not aces, sadly.
He lets it go. Cards on their backs. We have another coin flip.
Flip here.
McNamara, the player at risk.
2 flips in a row. I mean, if you lose the first one, you're guaranteed to win the second, right?
Queen Jack 7 on the flop. McNamara looking for an ace or an 8.
At least if he does lose this one, it'll be less dramatically. Of course, he'll be out.
The turn card. Another queen. Ockenden's now in danger of being counterfeited. 7, 8, jacks and aces, all working for McNamara. But it's another queen.
More like Mac, no Mora.
He's out in 6th place.
Good luck. That's how, mate. Best of luck.
McNamara, can we go thrift shopping?
Good luck, Max.
Ockenden now at 2.7 million. While McNamara cashes for 76,790 euros. Well, Mats Carlsen still leads with a stack of more than 3.8 million. With McNamara gone, Eli Sard is now the low man at the table. Peter Ockenden has moved into 3rd place.
Doc Ock.
Well, the action is on, Peter. The online qualifier has King Queen in the cutoff.
Queen, yes. Touch the queen. Touch it.
Okay. Here comes the raise. 130,000.
Hail to the queen, baby.
Folded to Eli Sard in the small blind. 6-3 off.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that goes in the muck. Alexei Boyka is in the big blind. He has King 8 of diamonds.
With stack sizes, this is definitely a defend with King 8 suited.
He makes the call. We go to the flop, which gives Ockenden top pair, diamond draw for Boyka.
Top pair versus a flush draw, that old classic battle.
Action check to Ockenden. He continues for 240,000.
Just look at all those diamonds. He ain't going nowhere. Hey, remember when you first started playing poker and you get mad at people for chasing flushes?
240.
Boyka calls, and we go to the turn.
Oh, keep chasing those flushes, you fish.
It's a 10, so both players pick up a straight draw now. Ockenden's still ahead. A 3-1 favorite with top pair. Action check to him a second time, and he will bet a second time. That is 385,000.
By the way, chasing flush draws like Alexei Boyka's about to do is totally fine. In fact, not chasing this flush draw would make him a bad player.
He calls. The pot's nearly 1.6 million. We're going to the river. And that river card is the 10 of diamonds, flush for Boyka.
And I really like a lead here. There we go.
The question is how much? Well, that's roughly 1/3 pot, 450,000.
There aren't a lot of hands Ockenden could bet on the river, but there are plenty he could call with, including this hand.
Ockenden calls.
More like Alexei Binka. That's 2 rivers so far.
That's it.
Boyka came into this final table as the short stack, and he is now second in chips.
From worst to almost first. That's clunky. Hello, my babies. Want to listen to more of my jokes and embarrassing stories without poker getting in the way? Subscribe to EPT Not Live on iTunes or download it from soundcloud.com/EPT.live. There's guests, competitions, online dating. You can even get some behind-the-scenes gossip on the show you're watching right now. That's right, more layers than an advanced Rubik's Cube, which has 2 layers. More layers than that. EPT Not Live.
We're witnessing an incredible comeback story here at the PokerStars.com EPT Malta main event, with start-of-day short stack Alexei Boyka now challenging for the chip lead.
I just was ready to go and pack my stuff to go to the airport, but I got really lucky on the river. In the next 5 hours I have a flight to Moscow, so maybe it's gonna be postponed. Certainly hope that it's gonna be like that.
So Boyka is not that far behind the amateur player Mats Carlsen, and just ahead of his friend, fellow pro Dmitry Yurasov. Peter Ockenden is now the short stack, and he's just folded. Dmitry Yurasov has Queen 10 in the cutoff.
No, Yurasov! Sorry, it throws me every time.
It's a raise to 110,000. A fold from Elisard and from Alexei Boyka. Okay, we are going to get to see the chip leader play a hand as Mats Carlsen calls out of the big blind with Jack-7.
Totally fine.
And Carlsen flops best, second pair.
I think when Yurasov talks about the passive play at this table, he's mostly talking about Carlsen.
Well, Carlsen has checked. Yurasov c-bets 150,000.
In this case, passive's the only way to play it.
Call.
Carlsen calls with the best hand. The turn card is a jack, 2 pair for Carlsen. Yurasov now with an open-ended straight draw.
Man, I love Carlsen. He's been accidentally working these pros like Bill Murray and the man who knew too little.
Yurasov fires again, 360,000.
And he always seems super stressed out.
Carlson will, whoops, raise.
Nailed it.
He's made it 800k.
It's amazing. This raise is probably a little too small. Calling's fine, but if he raises, it should be a little bigger so he can get it in on the river.
Well, Yurosov calls with his draw. And Yurosov catches a piece on the river, but it's not enough. $2.17 million in the middle. Carlson will lead river for 550k.
Again, I'd like to see this bet a little bigger. He has given Yurosov an awesome price for the hand he's actually got. And Yurosov's in a weird spot because it's like, I just spiked top pair, yay. But then it's like, is Carlson ever check raising the turn super small as a bluff? Boo, probably not.
Will he pay off this value bet? Yes!
Two pair.
So stressed out.
Mats Carlson takes a big pot off Dmitry Yurosov and increases his chip lead.
Where's your aggression now, Dmitry?
Sorry, got me nervous.
Mats Carlson is so nervous, that's not even gum. These guys know what I'm talking about.
Some of Mats's friends who are thrilled he now has close to 6 million chips, as the blinds go to 30-60 with a 10k ante. Action on Boyka. He folds. Carlson in the cutoff has Jack 10.
Get him, Mats.
He raises to 130,000. Ace 9 for Ockenden. On the button. He calls.
That's a little loose, even in position. I'd have rather seen a 3-bet.
Ali Sard in the big blind. Gives it up. So heads up to the flop.
Let the stressing begin.
Well, Peter Ockenden is the effective stack here with roughly 20 bigs behind. Well, that flop gives Ockenden top pair. Carlson is up and down. It's literally 50-50. Carlson continues for 200,000.
550.
Ockenden raises.
Well, I know how this hand should go.
I'm all in.
Carlson shoves. And Ockenden can't fold, can he?
I don't think he's actually thinking about this. I think he's just taking his time. I hope.
Okay.
Boom.
I have odds anyway. Your favorite, but ace 9.
It's a race.
It is a true statistical dead heat.
Yeah, it's probably about the only hand I didn't want to see.
How about a set of 8s, 9s, 3s, 8, 9?
Carlson has 14 outs. He can hit a 7, 10, jack, or queen to bust Peter Ockenden. 10 on the turn, leaving Ockenden with 5 outs. An ace or a 9 needed. The river is a king. We're down to 4.
Oh, yes.
Good luck, guys.
In for 27 euros, out for almost 400 times that.
But I have, almost 50% there. More or less.
Peter Ockenden cashes for more than 104,000 euros. Dispatched by the table boss.
I'm Mats Carlson. I'm 58. I live in Malta since 11 or 12 years. And I'm retired. I think this is only my second EPT. I played last year in Malta and went out the first day. So this is the first cast. I think the other players can't really figure me out. Because I'm old and I'm local, I think they look at me as a fish. And it's great. I do nothing to change that. I'm not that bad. I mean, I can't compete at this level, but I like to play against good players here, and I love having Dominic Panka or Ole Semyon at my table. Of course, I'm the big target immediately, yeah? And I realized that. I started to get nervous. That's why I sort of played back at him. I was very lucky on 2 different occasions against him. And the next day, I knocked him out with a 3-outer, yeah? What can you say? I mean, most of the kids weren't born when I started to play. But I would say that poker is probably a young man's game, actually, because they have more stamina and the brains are sharper, yeah? But I don't think I take a loss as seriously as some of the younger kids. But, you know, winning the title would be amazing, yeah.
You know what an older guy's got that young kids don't? A lifetime of experience and a pocket full of sour candies.
Well, let's see if Mats confounds us as we sweat with Dmitry Yurasov in the big blind. Mats has completed in the small. Yurasov has 6-4 in the big. He checks his option.
Okay.
The flop is 8-6 deuce, second pair for Dmitry. And Carlsen's betting. 125,000.
We got a pair. We can call once, try to improve. Although if he's betting, I tend to think we're probably already losing.
Yurasov calls. The turn card is a 9. Well, that's another overcard to Yurasov's pair. And Carlsen is betting again. Wow, that's pretty much full pot.
Yeah, I kind of think this is a fold. I don't see the point in getting too hero-y against a guy who's probably playing more straightforward than a drag race.
$400?
Wow, he's calling.
Or, you know, we could just call and try to do what Ola Shemian and Dominic Panka couldn't do, which is try to outplay a guy who's getting hit in the face with a deck.
Queen on the river, so now the board gets straighter. And Carlsen's going to fire a third barrel. 600,000.
Oh, man, fold. Fold! Fold it like a slice of real Brooklyn pizza.
He's really thinking about heroing here.
Do not do it.
Yurasov calls.
Two pair.
Queen 8.
Adi, adi, adi.
Yeah. When you're hot, you're hot.
Carlsen, so hot right now. To be fair, one pair was enough.
Mats Carlsen continues to crush. Meanwhile, both Dmitry Yurasov and Eli Saad are now in the danger zone.
Danger zone!
Well, action's been folded to Saad. On the button. King Jack. He is all in. Boyka's got 10s.
Flip City.
Call.
Carlsen in the big. Passes, so we're off to the races again.
Like GIFs versus Bitmojis, one of these hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Saad is at risk and needs to hit.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Check out the Saad squad.
Looking for a king or a jack. And he hits a king on the flop. Saad takes the lead. Boyka drawing to 2 outs.
He's been in some dicey situations before.
Saad set for the double up. A 3 on the turn. So Saad just has to fade a 10 on the river. Oh no!
so sick.
Ouch.
Good game.
Nice to play with you. Thanks.
Ali Saad out in fourth. He wins nearly 142,000 euros. And that is twice that Alexei Boyka has hit a 10 on the river.
Nobody knows what it's like to be the sod man.
Meanwhile, an amazing moment for Alexei Boyka. And if you'd like to experience the excitement of the tour, you can qualify for a main event at PokerStars.com. Welcome back to the PokerStars.com EPT Malta, where currently the two online pros trail the local amateur at the main event final table.
So I squeezed between the Russians. Am I squeezed between the Russians now?
Yeah.
But one of you is Belarus.
Yeah, we both live in Belarus.
Both Belarus, okay.
Which explains why they want to make mince meat out of you.
Admit it, you had to look up the capital of Belarus. Action on Boyka, on the button. He's got his favorite hand, pocket tens. And he raises to 150,000. Well, Yurosov has fewer than 20 bigs. King 10.
All in.
Call.
Shoving a call, Boyka puts his friend at risk.
Что ты там, опять десятки нашел? Давай я чуть удвоюсь, потом попозже поиграем. Ну, наш десятки опять нашел на батоне, вообще хрень. Ну, К10 арестинул, чё.
That was a risky shove with King 10.
Boyka's a 2-to-1 favorite to bust Yurosov here. But there's a king on the flop.
Тривер сложнее будет поймать.
Давай без этого, как бы. Все, отойду нахрен, блядь.
I think they're joking about how Mads Carlsen is probably going to win the whole thing.
6 on the turn. Well, we have seen Boyka pull a 2-outer with 10s. What about a 1-outer? No.
Not this time.
Yurosov doubles up.
Man, you know your luck's run out in poker when you just can't hit your one-outers anymore. Can you sit still for 1 second? Just gotta get a picture of this for my Suck Out album. Got it.
So Carlsen's still dominating, and not much separating Boyka and Yurosov as the blinds increase to 40,000, 80,000, and he stays at 10,000. Folded to Boyka in the small blind. He's got aces.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
He raises to 220,000. Mats Carlsen has 10-9 of hearts in the big.
So how's he gonna get them? Straight, 2-pair, hearts, all of the above?
Carlsen defends. The flop is King, Queen, 7. Boyka still a huge favorite. Carlsen with nothing more than a gut shot on a backdoor heart draw.
Yeah, that's something.
Boyka continues, 200k.
Calling once seems okay.
Taking us to the turn.
It's just 2 chips.
It's an 8, so Carlsen's now open-ended. Boyka, better than a 4-to-1 favorite. He's betting again. 870,000 in the middle. He makes it 575,000.
He might want to consider folding now.
I call.
Nope. We're going to the river. Boyka with less than a pot-sized bet behind. And he improves to top set. Meanwhile, the board is bricked out for Carlsen. A value bet of 575,000.
Seems fairly obvious.
Carlsen lets it go.
He really is quite adorable.
Boyka adds $1 million to his stack and closes the gap between him and the chip leader.
My name is Alex, I'm from Belarus and I'm 28 years old. 7 years ago, I was a student in economics, which didn't come to life because I invested more and more time in poker. I mostly play online. My biggest result was winning a summer championship of online poker. From time to time, it's really nice to play live poker, just one table, picking some reads from your opponents. First time I was here like 6 or 7 years ago was actually my first live series in my life, but I didn't really succeed. Now it's really fantastic because I had less than 10% of the chips, so if I'm gonna win the title, I will be incredibly happy.
Alexei's concerned if he wins, he might miss his flight to Moscow. All I can say is, you're welcome.
Well, action's on, Boyka.
I do the wrong colors all the time, sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Wrong color, again. It's cheaper that way.
We've all done it.
No discount for you, Mats Carlsen.
Unless we're talking about the early bird special.
Boyka calls in the small with Queen 10. Carlsen, with 5 deuce in the big, checks his option. And Carlsen flops best, bottom pair.
Classic Carlsen.
Boyka bets 100K.
Most of the time, Carlsen will have missed.
Not this time. So he calls. Turn card is an 8. So both players now have a straight draw. Carlsen's is no good. But he's still ahead for now, with deuces. And he's facing a bet of 250,000 from Boyka.
Perfectly reasonable spot for Boyka to keep betting.
Carlsen calls again. Well, that 6 on the river gives both players a straight. Carlsen with a straight to the 9, Boyka with a straight to the 10. 890,000 in the middle. And it's beer time for Carlsen.
Oh, he's definitely calling this river. What is going on? Time for some gum.
Here comes the value bet from Boyka. 550,000.
Call.
I don't hate the call.
You have a 10?
A lot of pros are going to try to bluff there. Gotta keep them honest. Do you have any more gum?
If it's for you, no. So Boyka continuing to close the gap between him and Carlsen. Well, action is now on Dmitry Urasov, who is the short stack. He's got ace-king. And that means we're likely to see a shove.
All in.
There he goes.
All in, wow. How much do you have? About 1 million?
1 million, 2.
1, 2. All right. I haven't.
Urasov is not amused.
Dmitry, it's okay for poker to be fun.
First going looks okay. Not the best, but they're good.
Did he just make it so he's going to look at the same card twice? I call with my 2 kings of clubs.
King, queen.
I call. Yes, yes.
He calls, but he's dominated.
Yeah, okay. Oh, call. Yeah, good hand.
Malinho.
Yeah, that's actually a good hand.
Domination Nation. Hope Mats isn't too hard on himself. This is totally standard.
Roman Koronev excited because Dmitry Urasov is a 3-1 favorite to double up through the chip leader.
Otur. Hallå. Han gick all in. Han är 5 miljoner. Han är kungdom. Det är ju nötterna. Ja, han älskar.
Är du all in?
Nej, han gick all in på 1,2.
Definitely the kind of dudes that walk around naked at the gym.
Well, after the flop, it's looking good for Dmitry. Just has to fade a queen on the turn and river.
Yeah, come on back, Matt. Stuff's happening.
The turn card It's a queen, but it's the queen of diamonds. So Yurosov has a ton of outs. Carlsen ahead for now.
One time.
An ace or a diamond needed for Dmitry Yurosov to survive. It's the six of clubs.
All right, thank you.
Yurosov out in third.
Давай.
No luck on the resuck.
He cashes for nearly 193,000 euros.
Second one, and you want him? Two.
Yes.
And we're heads up. Carlsen versus Boyka.
You're gonna miss that flight.
We began with 3 amateurs and 3 pros. Now, as this battle nears its end, only the comeback king and the valiant underdog remain.
I have not so much experience in a serious heads-up. I'm not very comfortable with it now.
He is obviously a very loose player, and he tries to play a lot of hands and put pressure on opponents.
In a way, the good players are more predictable because they play more normal and more accurate poker.
I'm gonna do my best, and if I win the title, that would be absolutely incredible.
No, I can say that, oh, it doesn't matter if I come second, I'm just as happy, but winning the title would be amazing, yeah.
One of these 2 warriors will triumph and claim the PokerStars.com EPT Malta throne.
No, there's no actual throne, but there is a trophy.
Why'd you have to be so literal? A lot of support for Mats Carlsen from all the locals here in Malta.
Hey, Jackie. What's up?
Meanwhile, joining Roman Koronev on Alexei Boyka's rail are Dmitry Yurosov and Mikita Bodziakovsky, who came 5th in the high roller.
Wow, these 2 are almost even. We got ourselves a game.
Absolutely, with the blinds at 40-80 with a 10k ante. Carlsen with King 7. He has the slight chip advantage going into this heads-up battle.
Nothing like the chip lead he had before.
He raises to 200,000, and Boyka defends with 7-4. He is dominated.
Even though we know he's dominated, it's fine.
8-6 deuce. So Boyka flops a gut shot. Carlsen still ahead with King high. And he bets 300,000. Boyka calls.
There's an argument for check raising that board with nothing, but calling's way more standard.
The turn card is a 5. That is the straight for Boyka. Meanwhile, Carlsen picks up a straight draw, a draw to a chop. Boyka is checked for a second time, and Carlsen is going to bet a second time.
Never a good spot to be in where you're drawing to get half the pot.
450,000.
Now we're gonna see the check raise.
And he makes it chunky, 1.4 million.
Folding here is the obvious move, but I don't think peeling is terrible. Folding probably makes a little more sense, so you don't have to deal with any river decisions when you miss.
Carlsen lets it go. Boyka adds 960,000 to his stack. And that results in a switcheroo. Alexei Boyka now with the chip lead over Mats Carlsen. Mats with 6-4.
I call.
Completes.
Probably better to come in for a raise, but whatever.
Boyka with King 9 raises to 300,000. And Carlsen decides he's going to play a flop in position. He calls. Well, Boyka still has the best hand, King high, plus he has a gut shot. Nothing for Carlsen.
Boyka's not c-betting. And this is what happens when there's an unknown quantity in the mix.
A bluff from Carlsen, 400,000.
Taking a stab since there was no c-bet.
Boyka calls.
Not sure what he's doing with this line. Maybe just bluff catching with king high?
Well, Boyka has paired his 9 on the turn, and that means Carlsen is now drawing dead.
Got a great bluff catch in hand now.
And Carlsen is going to bluff again. 1.4 million in the middle. He bets 900,000.
The only types of hands he's going to get to fold with a bet like this are ace-high type hands. And maybe not even those.
Boyka calls. The river card is a 5, which pairs the board.
Well, if he was trying to get ace-high type hands to fold, he would need to bet again here.
It's been checked to him.
Right.
He waves the white flag. And Boyka wins at showdown.
Why didn't you bluff?
I didn't, the 5 is not too good. I mean, what can I don't have a queen.
Fair enough.
What, you call all in?
I don't know.
But they didn't look very convincing, I have to say. Not a good chance.
Well, Matt's lost a lot of chips in that pot. And his friend on the rail is starting to look a tad concerned. With good reason, because Boyka has opened up a better than 3-1 chip advantage over Carlsen.
He is getting worked.
He's first to speak here with ace-4 of diamonds. He raises to 200k. Ace-jack for Boyka.
Domination Nation, and we should be seeing a 3-bet.
He re-raises to 625k.
I call.
Well, that means we're going to the flop.
Carlsen seems so stressed out. I'm glad he didn't blast off there in the hopes of not having to make any post-flop decisions.
The flop is Queen 8 deuce. Ace-jack high, still the best hand. And no c-bet from Boyka.
Again, I think he's trying to induce bluffs from Carlsen.
Well, Carlsen is going to bet.
550.
Is it a value bet or a bluff?
Yes.
Boyka, an 80% favorite, calls. The turn card is a king, so Boyka picks up a gut shot and is still a commanding favorite.
Carlsen's got barely a pot-sized bet left behind.
He checks behind. The river is a 7, so both players left with ace high. Boyka has the better ace and therefore has a lock on this hand. And he's checked for a 3rd time.
Mats, don't do anything crazy. Actually, something crazy might work.
I'm all in.
Carlsen shoves the river.
It's quite the maneuver, but is it a convincing line?
2.56 million into 2.37 million. It's polarizing for sure.
It's not the kind of bet you'd expect from a guy as a bluff at this stage, but what can he have? What a spot for Boyka. If he decides Carlsen's bluffing, Carlsen could easily be bluffing with something like bottom pair, and ace-jack still loses.
If Boyka decides that ace-jack high could be the best hand and calls, he's won the tournament.
You can see it in his eyes. He's picturing himself winning the tournament right now.
How much does Mats Carlsen want to fold here?
He can see it. He can see the trophy lift. How is Carlson sitting there so comfortably? I would be freaking out.
Boyka putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
It's a break now, yeah?
Mats, don't speak!
It says 15 minutes. It's 1:15, yeah.
Shh, quiet. Oh, Boyka's the one who's stressed out.
Boyka calls!
Nice call, they win.
It's over.
What do we have? Ace Jack?
We have a winner!
Oh, wow.
What a call.
Nice call. Yeah. Good call.
Good game.
Yeah, good, okay. Now I misplayed the heads up, but wow. All right, good call.
With that amazing call, Alexei Boyka wins EPT Malta.
I played it bad at the end, but I got fed up.
Oh, credit to Mats for making that move on the river there.
Nice call.
It was tough.
Crucially, Boyka made an outstanding call to defeat Mats Carlson. The Swede earns 262k for second. Boyka wins more than 355 grand and the EPT trophy.
Alexei, you just won one of the last ever EPT titles. How are you feeling right now?
I'm super excited. I didn't expect much when I was 6 stack at 6 marks table, and I just don't have many words to say because it just feels amazing and crazy.
That was plenty of words, and we can see the smile on your face. I mean, that is one of the sickest calls we've ever seen. What was going through your mind on that hand, and how did you eventually come to make that decision?
I don't know, it seemed kind of semi-standard to me because he was not representing a strong hand, and it's possible that he was tilting and just tried to make a big bluff in the last hand, so I made this call.
I said it's one of the sickest calls ever. He says it's just standard. Those are the words of a champion. Let's get a big round of applause for EPT 13 Malta champion, Alexei Boyka. Nice work, buddy.
It's obviously my best result. It means a lot. It feels really incredible. Everything just started going my way. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good game. It feels really like it's some kind of miracle. It feels absolutely incredible.